What's up, guys, and welcome to another Raw Data Early Access stream. I'm Spencer Kitagawa, aka Very Mahalo, and with me once again on the couch, Design Director, Mr. Mike McTire. How you doing, Mike?
Hey, how's it doing, everybody? Good to see you again. Hopefully, we'll get you some good answers today, and you know, we really are appreciating the feedback you're sending us. So keep it coming. You know, we really like it.
Awesome. And making his stream debut, Mr. Andrew Abidian. How you doing, Andrew?
Doing fantastic. Hello, everybody. I'm a designer here at Survios, specifically levels. So, you know, you could hate me for Dark Source specifically, I guess.
Mm-hmm. and they do. And thanks, he got a new shirt today,
yes.
Everybody.
Yes, it's not a new shirt. It's like a really old shirt.
And we have Stefan, our QA lead, in the Vive. Say hi, Stefan. All right, today we're going to be talking about our new update 0.3.
Yes.
Lots of new content, lots of new features and fixes. Super exciting stuff. But before we get to that, we're going to be taking some Q&A later in the show. So just want to let you know, if you have a question, type it into the Twitch chat now, and we will have a section later in the show where we answer your questions. Also, before we get started, wanted to thank the community for all your feedback and support. Would not be able to do it without you guys. So from the Survios team, wanted to thank you. You've been awesome. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's get it started. Update 0.3. So Stefan is in the showroom right now. Let's move into our first feature, which is the rack-up screen. Mike, so we have this briefcase here. This is the data core, correct? Or
yes.
So this is where all of the data that we stole is, we're keeping it now. But what kind of stats can we, the players, see with the rack-up screen here?
So this is a feature, we haven't quite finished it yet. You know, we're still in early access. So, but what we wanted to, before, when you completed a mission, right, you just kind of got your currency right away, and you unlock your new tech, but it wasn't particularly clear to the players, right, what was happening. We knew that from the beginning, right? Mm-hmm. So this is a feature we always intended to do, and we'll keep working on and iterating on it. So basically, once you've completed the mission, right, you're using the extractor when you're down on the mission, and you're stealing all of that data from Eden Corp, right? All sorts of information. So, and with that data is being stored in your data core, right? And at the end of the mission, the data core collapses back in on itself, folds back up, and then you return back to the showroom, and now you have this this data core, this briefcase thing, full of all that information you just stole. So the sequence is, you know, you take it, you put it in the data transmitter. This is what Mission Control teleported there for you, so you could send all the information back to them, right? This is futuristic hacking, right? This is how they do it in the future.
Yes.
You need to have an on-site person, apparently. So once you're sending all that information back, the score screen is going to show you how well you did in the mission, what your score was. It shows you all the additional stats and information if you want to know. You want to make sure not when you beat your friend, but especially when I beat Andrew, I want to know not only how I beat him, but how badly I beat him, right? Making sure I have more kills, more headshots, less deaths, of course, all the typical stuff. And then beyond that, once you get past all the stats, then there is the actual information screen, the technology screen, where Mission Control is telling you this is how much currency, how many cryptos you're getting, based upon how well you performed in the mission, how high your score was. The better your score, the more currency you're going to get. And then also any new technology you might have stolen. This could be, you know, unlocking special powers, new maps, defenses, or tutorials. Just really trying to make that information really clear to the player. What did you accomplish once you came back from that mission? And like we said, this is still work in progress. We are still going to be adding challenges, as we've talked about in the future, and that will also update this rack-up screen with additional challenges and things you can accomplish during the mission as well.
Awesome. Yep. That sounds like a good new feature.
Yeah.
So more stats in our next new feature. Players will be able to top the raw data charts with skill play with the leaderboard system that's being implemented. How does that work, Mike?
Yeah, so leaderboards are a big part, and part of that is also the difficulty system, which we'll talk about in just a minute here. But, you know, raw data just for, you know, single player or co-op, it's definitely a very competitive game. You know, you definitely love to not just play the game, but see how well you're doing versus other people. Mm-hmm. And so part of that we always intended was to have a leaderboard system. So we still have a couple more bugs to figure out, which is why a couple pieces of it are disabled at the moment, but we're working on that. Hopefully we'll get that out to everybody really soon here. I'm literally just yelling at the coders, get it fixed, get it fixed. They're already working working a bunch of overtime to try and get it in, so they'll get it for you real soon, I promise. But so we have the leaderboards there. So the leaderboards are not just how well you're doing per mission, but it's also per difficulty and also single player versus multiplayer. So you can know every single mission is tracked separately, and then from those missions there's easy, normal, hard, all the difficulties, and then we also separate it for single player versus co-op because we actually change things between those two modes, like Andrew could tell us about in the difficulty system.
Yeah, so something highly requested by you guys, obviously, coming from Dark Source. A lot of people didn't make it. You know? And you know, we're well aware of that. It's an early access product. It's constantly evolving. We know there's limited content, so we're making some things harder on purpose. Everything's in flux. That being said, boom, difficulty system. So we got normal. That is kind of like the baseline. We test it. We make sure it feels good. Easy to the left of it, you know, for people who can't handle the normal.
Well, you know, not everybody is, you know, wants to necessarily do that. They just want to, they love the immersion factor. They want to play the game.
Totally.
And we want to make sure as many people can play the game as possible. So that's for the easy mode, is for the people who don't necessarily need to, you know, show off their skills. They just want to have a great time playing the game.
Yeah. But then we got the other side.
Yes.
The people who don't think it's hard enough.
The masochists.
The masochists, yes. So for you guys, we got hard, which is pretty hard. But then we have nightmare, which is torturous.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, that's something we're interested to see. If you guys like send us your videos or something.
Now you can't just, you can play easy, normal, and hard right out of the go. You download it right now, you can play it, but you can't play nightmare right away. So what do they need to do to unlock nightmare?
So to unlock nightmare, you got to go through all the levels with hard. And just so you guys know, things that are going to be tweaked in the difficulty, tweaks to player damage, tweaks to player health, special tweaks to different AI, so rate of fire, and I believe speed as well. Right?
Yeah, that's definitely there for now, and we're going to be expanding that in the future, so actually we'd love to hear other ideas you might have on what you'd like to see in the difficulty settings. I mean, obviously we're trying to get in as many features as we possibly can, as fast as we possibly can, so we definitely have a lot of ideas on how we can make the game more challenging in the future as well, but we also love to hear what you guys think about that as well. So, and also it's good to know, be aware now when you're joining multiplayer games, there's a difficulty setting, right? So it's not just who is the other person playing the game and what mission you're playing, it's now what difficulty they're on. And again, only the host needs to have the difficulty unlocked. So if we're playing the game, and I've unlocked Nightmare of course, but Andrew hasn't yet, I'll be able to host the game in Nightmare mode, and he can still join the game with me, right? We want everybody to play together, so just be aware when you're joining those. But beyond just the difficulty settings, there's also a significant difference between single player and co-op.
Yes, definitely. So when you guys are playing solo, you know, you got nobody to depend on. Nobody to get your back, no sword to your pistol, etc., more meaningful words. So we take it easy on you guys, less spawns, different spawns, don't surround you as much, bunch of little tweaks here and there. At the same time, you're playing multiplayer, you want to ramp it up, so we ramp it up. We'll be doing tweaks to everything, and you guys should notice significantly, for example, in the new map, Nuke Fusion, that there's going to be significant changes between playing solo and multiplayer. So you want to experience both of it, really.
Yeah, definitely. And that is, again, it is more challenging now on co-op than it was before. And as Andrew mentioned earlier on, in our first release, we knew we only had 4 missions there, and we didn't have the difficulty system yet, so we purposefully made Mission 5 and Mission 3 harder than they probably should have been, certainly for single player. But now that we have a difficulty system and we have the differences between the two, you're going to notice a rebalance on there as well, certainly in single player. And it should be also more challenging than it was before on co-op now.
Yes.
And also, again, remember the missions that are out right now, we now have missions 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This is not even halfway through the game, right? So if you think the game is challenging now, you're not even halfway there yet. So it's going to get a lot harder as the other missions get done.
Yep.
Awesome. Can't wait to see some of the footage we get from Nightmare mode coming soon.
Yes, please show us your scores. We'd love to see them. We're watching the leaderboards to see if we can actually beat it.
All right. While Stefan's still in the show, and we got one more feature to talk about while he's here, and that's multiplayer quick play. How is that going to help with people finding games or playing co-op with other people?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we had a few bugs early on, so we've been fixing those. I mean, like I said, from the beginning, raw data is a great single player experience. We expected most people to be playing single player, but we always knew, like traditional games, co-op is where it's at. playing with other people, playing online, and we weren't sure how many people were going to be playing in 2016 or 2017. But it was a huge, from the core of the design of the game, we've been building up for multiplayer experience. So, but part of that is also getting into games as fast as possible with other players. Some people like to be very specific. I want to play a certain map. Now I want to play a certain difficulty. Other players just want to get in and they want to get into a match as quick as possible. They don't care about any of that stuff. Yep. So now we have quick play right there. So this should allow players to get into missions much faster than they were previously.
Great. That sounds wonderful. I know a lot of people had problems finding other players, but now made it a lot more simple.
Part of that before is players just keep joining games so quickly, and there's only 2 players in the game. There was no match to join, but it's like, oh, it's there. No, wait, it's not there. And so quick play should really help with that.
Yeah. Right, awesome. Well, let's get into the juicy stuff. We have new mission, new enemies, new defense turret. So, Stefan, if you would like to hop into Nuke Fusion, our new mission. So, Andrew, as our lead designer or level designer, what was the thinking behind Nuke Fusion, and what are some of the differences between Nuke Fusion and some of the prior levels that we have encountered?
So, going in designing this map, we wanted to go for something completely different. We've kind of scaled up that progression, so you guys kind of see it. We have Hardpoint moving into Dark Source, kind of similar. Then we move on to Short, kind of an introduction to the outer environments, and then when you go over to Vapor Exploit, you see it really open up. Well, with Nuke Fusion, which takes place in the core of Eden Tower, it's just a completely different experience. We were really going for this large map with a lot of vertical elements, very sci-fi. The art team has done an amazing job really selling that.
Great job.
Very good. So
what are some of the mechanics, the new mechanics in the level? Yeah.
So unlike the other maps, there's kind of a tweak to the game flow. So as you might see on screen, there are what we internally call VIP bots, which spawn. It's these white bots with the orb in the center, and they're kind of going towards what are mechanically these forward spawners, or the fusion cores. They get there, they start doing their charge up, all right? Takes about 15 seconds, and then things get really bad.
And why is that?
So they turn into forward spawns for the majority of the enemy crew, and then on top of that, we get our next big guy, what we're calling the Megabot. He drops in, and it just completely changes the game.
Yeah. Yes. So just to clarify that, it's a lot of information. It's a brand new map, and some of our design goals is we want to make sure each map feels unique, right? It's not just a remix of the layout, right?
Yeah.
The layout needs to change. We want to have a different immersion factor, different feeling. We're going for a lot of verticality in this map. You're seeing that you didn't see in the other maps, right? That's kind of a new thing, bridges, different levels and tiers. Andrew's been working a lot on that. But beyond that, it's a larger map, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to get larger and larger maps as we progress. Again, we're building up a progression. This is mission 1 through 5 still. So there's a lot more content, a lot new things you guys haven't seen that have come down the pipe that are really going to challenge you, things you haven't seen or expected before. But in this map, Andrew wanted, we have these much longer lanes. So you have a lot more time to respond to the enemies. You have a lot more time to plan things out. You have a lot more time to decide which lane you want to go to, but it also makes it more challenging.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
Because you can't jump immediately, right? In the other maps, you can huddle by your data core, right? That was a big thing. You could really defend the data core, build your defenses, and never really leave your safety bubble. But Andrew said, the hell with that. And he's like, so we specifically, Andrew made this mechanic that's forcing you out of your comfort zone. You have to go away, to go away from the data core to stop the enemies from taking over those 2 locations. Because if you don't, all sorts of bad stuff's going to happen. So
and it's not only the first time either. It's not just that it becomes a forward spawn, we spawn a heavy bot, and we're done. You have to take care of that for the rest of the game now.
Yeah.
You got those VIP bots constantly coming through. Your entire task is to assassinate them before they get to that forward spawn. Because every time they get there and a Megabot doesn't exist, it will now exist.
Yeah, so that's a big thing to, pro tip for players. The easiest way to beat this map is do not let the enemies take over those locations.
All costs, all costs. There's also other small tips. If you pay attention to the beams around the level, they'll give you a good cue as to when things are spawning. There's lots of alarms, sirens, various things. You need to pay attention to those if you really want to survive.
Yeah, there is a lot of environmental feedback to tell you when things are spawning or when one of those chambers are being taken over by the AI. So if you watch for it, you're definitely going to notice it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you did touch up on this. So when these VIP bots do get into those forward spawning locations, the Mega Dynamo comes out. Tell me a little bit about this beastly robot that gets summoned into the level. What kind of abilities does he have?
So beyond just being massive, which in itself is a big thing.
Yeah, we definitely want.
He's got that classic Cyclops beam eye, which is absolutely devastating.
Yep.
Has a crushing attack when he comes in.
He does. It's very similar to the heavy bots. That was a big thing. We really wanted that big enemy, right? That big experience. This guy is not just tall. He's like 20 feet tall. He's enormous. And so he's a more powerful version of our heavy bot, of course. Now again, the artist definitely wants to tell us he's not finished yet, right? Yeah. We're definitely going to give him some more effects love, some more textures and everything. They're still working on that, but as with everything in early access, we want to get this content to you guys, to the community, as fast as we can, right? So even though something isn't finished, it's not polished, there's so much more we want to do. We want to make sure the community gets this stuff as fast as we can develop it, right? So we're still iterating on it. So if there's certain things you want to see, your feedback, please let us know. But you know, this huge megabot, he's towering, he has tons of health, he's very difficult to take down, he has powerful stomp attacks, and he has, as Andrew was pointing out, this crazy laser beam attack out of his eye. He has multiple versions of it. Yes. I can tell you right now, if you let this guy spawn, you have to use your powers to stop him. So if you get to mission 4 and have no powers unlocked, you might as well quit right now, right? You have to have your powers unlocked. You have to have your bullet storm, your levitation smash, whatever it is with your hero in order to stop these guys, because they're just too powerful to take down otherwise.
It's important to note, since the map is bigger, we have more teleshift stamina, energy going on. Sidja players also get a little bit more. I think we'll go over that a little bit later as well.
Yeah, we are experimenting with that, giving players different amounts of teleshift energy based upon the map that they're playing on. So you definitely will have a lot more in this particular map because it's a lot larger. But again, the more you play it, the better you're going to get at it. Using the beacons is critical to get around the map. So you know, pay attention to your energy meter all the same.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, the Mega Dynamo is not the only new enemy in Nuke Fusion. There's also the Beamfire Mechamo. So how does the Beamfire Mechamo differ from other robots or androids we've seen in other levels?
So the Beamfire has kind of a constant streaming attack. Does more damage the longer it holds on a target, including the Nexus, which makes it particularly devastating if it gets to it. It is an upgraded version of our...
so he's better than a laser bot. Yeah, he's a tier 2 version of laser bot. He moves a little faster. He has more health. He has a little bit more advanced AI. But the big thing is his beam attack, right? Yes. You can avoid it if you see it coming. You have warning. He shoots the ground and then moves it up. But you have to interrupt it. You have to stop it. Because as Andrew pointed out, if you just let this thing keep firing upon you or upon your data core, it's going to devastate it. You know, even after just 2-3 seconds, the damage skyrockets. So you really need to stop this guy from concentrating his beam fire.
Oh, okay. Sounds pretty powerful. So Eden Corp got some new toys, it sounds like, but so did the Syndicate operatives. A new defense turret has been implemented, the plasma turret. So what makes it different from the OG, the original turret that was in the game before?
Yeah, definitely. Well, we have, we're working on our defenses, right? We have plans for a whole bunch more defenses, and this is the next one we wanted to get out there. Again, the artist wanted me to tell you it's not quite finished yet. We're still working on it. But basically, we have our laser turret before, and that is kind of a good all-around turret. It's a generic turret. It can handle guys in front of it. It can handle, you know, shooters in range and all that. But it's really kind of, you know, medium health, medium cost, and all that. It's kind of good all around. So now the plasma turret is very short range. It acts more like a flamethrower. It's very short range, but it's very, very powerful. It does cost a little bit more of the nano currency in order to spawn this thing. And you've got to be careful where you place it. It's very, very powerful and can destroy not just walkers and runners. It can also destroy the heavy bots as well. But you got to be careful you place it where the ranged enemies won't get at it, right? Because the laser bots, you know, the heavies with the rockets and all that, they'll tear this thing apart because they can outrange it. So you need to make sure you place it strategically behind certain cubby holes or locations, so you're able to defend it to allow it to, you know, not maximize its usefulness. Yeah.
So it sounds like a lot of great new features and content in Nuke Fusion. I know we also did some gameplay balancing and improvements as well. So let's go through a few of those.
Sure.
One of the improvements is a buff to Sidja. We're getting a lot of questions what in particular has been buffed to her. So if you guys want to go into detail on what was buffed, that'd be great.
Yeah, so for Sidja in particular, you know, we really love this character. It's one of our favorites, but Sidja, we felt, you know, she while did well, like could beat the missions, a lot of fun. We didn't feel the Sidja's scores when completing the missions compared to Bishop was on par. So we really needed to give Sidja a few buffs in order to get her score a lot closer. So in particular, her sword attacks do a lot more damage than they did previously. That's one thing that she has now. She inherently has more teleshift energy than Bishop does as well. So, you know, she's a melee character. Typically, she's got to get in close, so she has more teleshift energy than Bishop does. On top of that, her shuriken attacks, she can perform those longer, hold it down longer, and more enemies will react to those now. Also, her sword attacks not only do more damage, some of the heavy bots will react to those now, who they wouldn't before. So watch out for their breakout attacks, but otherwise you can stun lock them to a degree as long as you can keep relentlessly attacking them. On top of that, Saija also has her levitation smash. That was a huge thing. We still haven't finished that ultimate ability. We're still working on the second half of that. That will be coming out soon. But the levitation smash itself, it is larger, and it does about 3 times as much damage as it did before. This is not only critical to balance her a little bit better, but it really helps her deal with the Megabot situations because he has so much health. Also, another pro tip with the Megabots, whether you're playing Bishop or whether you're playing Saija, the best way to defeat them is not necessarily to take them down and to damage them to death. Use your powers, use your levitation smash, use your abilities, use your push and everything to knock them off of the ramps. If you make sure you time it at the right time, that actually is the easiest way to defeat them.
Yeah, I was playing yesterday and got to push one off with my
very
force
gratifying.
Yeah, super gratifying.
Feels good.
The Syndicate Ninja got a buff, but so did Eden Corp's Ninja bot. What about that bot was worked on and improved?
You want to talk about it?
I believe it has combos now.
Yep.
It is smarter, for
Yep.
one. It dodges more.
A lot more.
A lot more. Difficult to kill.
Yes.
A little bit. Especially the way I spawn him. Really nasty.
Yep, and I think the other big thing too was also not only is he's going to be better in combat, it's also our first step. Now remember, he's doing combos now, and he has a flashbang just like Saija does. It's an Eden Corp version, but he has one as well, and you're able to actually block his attacks with your own blade, right? So we're still working on the combo system and getting the swordplay back and forth, but these are some of the first steps towards what we're ultimately trying to achieve there. On top of that, his stealth mechanic. This is really important. When he's stealth, when he's cloaked, you cannot see him beyond the little shimmers that he have, but also your defenses can't see him. So your turrets, whether it's laser or plasma, will not fire on him if he's cloaked. He is really devastating. He's in more missions now than he was before. So he will sneak up on them and tear them to pieces. They won't be able to do anything about it. You need to be aware of what's happening and protect them. But as long as you damage them, they become decloaked, right? It doesn't matter how much damage you do. As long as you damage them, they'll become decloaked. Your defenses will immediately open fire on him. So just pay attention for these guys.
So do they aggro towards, when they spawn, do they aggro towards the turrets first or the player?
Well, they'll kill anything in their path.
Oh, okay.
But generally speaking, most everything in the game will, if it's within range, will aggro towards the player first.
Okay, good to know. And the last fix or improvement we're going to be talking about today is the gun loss fix. I know a lot of people are having issues with, as Bishop, losing one of their guns or both, but super glad to hear you guys have improved that or fixed that. Because it was an issue.
No, that's definitely one of the things, again, this is really your feedback and your bugs and posting and telling us really helps us track these things down. There were actually several issues in terms of losing the gun in situations, but because of your feedback, we were able to find those, and our coders have worked to fix those. There was one particular issue that occurred a lot with the fusion shot, so that should be resolved now. So if anyone still loses their gun, please let us know. We're pretty sure we've solved them all at this point, but keep us informed.
Yeah, we're definitely listening.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, that was a hefty one, guys. Update 0.3.
Yep.
A lot of new content, a lot of hard work put in by the team. So I just wanted to thank you guys for all that. Hopefully the community enjoys all the new stuff. I'm excited to get back in there. I played earlier today, and finally, after this is my second try, finally beat Nuke Fusion. Felt pretty good about it.
Normal difficulty.
Normal.
Yeah,
I
you
still
got a ways to
gotta
go.
do it on hard. So.
Yeah, we can do that together later.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, in theory. We'll see.
Okay, we're gonna move into our community Q&A section here. So the community got a couple questions for you guys. First question, what's needed to unlock Nuke Fusion?
All right, guys, so if you want to play the new map, all you got to do is finish Skybound again. You go through that, it's unlocked, ready to play.
Yep. So Nuke Fusion is which number?
That is Nuke Fusion is the 4th level, Skybound being the 3rd level.
Okay, so as soon as you beat level 3 again, boom,
3, 4.
You got mission 4.
Awesome. This is the next question. Is there a way to remove the new chaperone from the new update?
Yeah, you know what? That's a great question. Actually, that was something that we missed. The current chaperone system that you experience, when you're using the Vive is fantastic and it's really useful and we love it. But we've actually found internally that sometimes it's just not enough. We've also read a lot of posts about, broken lamps.
Broken everything.
Chandeliers or bookcases or hands or whatever.
Send us your broken chandeliers.
So we've seen so many posts about that, so we wanted to add an additional system to help with that. Now again, so this system in particular, it will just draw your play space all the time around you in the particular colors and show you where it is centered. Now a lot of us actually, once you get used to it, it's actually really, really helpful. I know I use it all the time because whether you're playing Bishop or Saija, you're going all around. I mean, right, Raw Data is a 360 high action experience. So you so easily get, reoriented to a different location of the room, and that's when you hit your television set, which is terrible, and nobody likes that. So, so as a result, a lot of people I know, myself, find it very helpful to, as I'm playing, as soon as I'm done with an immediate fight, I just quickly glance down and, oh, there's the center of my play space, and just take a step over in the direction I need to. Super helpful to not hit other objects. But we always intended to have an option to shut it off. We just missed this one, so thank you for reminding us. We are working on that now, so you will be able to go to your options setting and just turn it off if you just don't want it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So the next question. So I think when we our original demo had an assortment of weapons, and when we released early access, we released Bishop with the pistols and Saija with the swords. But people I think are really missing the shotgun and bow. There's a few questions about new heroes and when they're releasing. I don't know if you guys have any update on that.
Is it not enough?
It's never enough.
Never enough.
Never enough. We would work on this game forever if we could. We are definitely working on the new heroes. Actually, some of the coders are putting a lot more effort into that. Actually, this next week. So I don't know how long it's going to be before they're ready. We're trying to get it as fast as possible. But again, remember, a hero is not just the character model and a weapon. It's also all their supporting powers and abilities and all those things.
A lot of work.
It's a lot of work. But like I said, we're going to try and get a new version to you as soon as we can. Yeah.
Awesome. So when there are 2 or 3 different heroes, this is another question. Will there ever be more than 2-player co-op? So you can go in maybe as a fire team, or something like that.
Sure. Well, that's a great question. So, this is one of the things we've actually been talking about internally a lot lately. We've gotten such overwhelmingly positive feedback from the community and from the press and all these things, and super supportive, and that really makes our job so much more gratifying. And part of that is we're talking about other ways where, how to prioritize features, how to prioritize modes, what players really want out there, and your feedback really helps us figure those things out. So the basic core gameplay in terms of co-op, the 12 missions, is just intended to be the 2-player co-op, but we have been discussing how we can support other modes to potentially allow to get more than 2 players into a mission. So we haven't figured out all those details yet. We're not ready to talk about that, but we are absolutely discussing it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Super informative. Well, thank you for answering all the community's questions for today. Before we wrap up the stream, we wanted to give a shout out to our VR Badass contest winners. We wanted people to use from the old update 0.2. We released a couple new abilities, and we wanted to see how some of the community would be using those and implementing those.
Yep.
So the devs voted. We got 3 winners, and we want to give a shout out to those guys. The first is No Mercy Leroy.
It's a good name.
Yep.
Second one is NJ Lamp, and the third is VR Gaming 82. So congrats, guys! You guys will be receiving a Survios raw data package in the mail shortly.
Congrats.
Awesome.
Yep.
Also, one more thing. We're going to be at PAX West in next week, actually, September 2nd to the 5th. So check us out. You can check our social media and see where we're going to be. Check out what booth we're going to be in. But yeah, that's going to be next weekend. So that's going to be super exciting. Get people to try raw data while they're out there.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's going to be it. Andrew, Mike, thank you so much for stopping by.
Definitely.
It was awesome having you.
Yep.
Check out our full list of features, fixes, and improvements on our update 0.3 Steam community post. You can also check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Survios. Also, make sure to check out raw data on Steam. And if you have any feedback, bug reports, go to rawdatagame.com, hit that support tab, and submit one of those forms to us, and we'll get back to you shortly. For Mike, myself, Hunter, Tiny Pal behind the boards, and Stefan, thanks for stopping by, and see you guys next time.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
See you guys.